What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the FansToys Ethereaon, or their version of a masterpiece scale Superion. So we finally received the final member here, Jester, and he came with the combiner parts, so we can finally assemble this guy into Superion. And just for a little bit of history, I reviewed the first one, this guy right here, Maverick, in 2019, and it is now August of 2024. So about 5 years to get the whole set. There was a little bit, of delay during the pandemic and a few other things that happened, but we finally got here. Now, if you're interested in seeing comparison with the Zeta toys, then stay tuned for the comparison video. I'll be doing a versus with that figure. Here, we're really just going to talk about the combine mode, how to get it together, how to combine it. We're not going to take a look at the flight stand mode. We're not going to get these guys into jet mode. I might do a separate video for that, just so you can see all the jets together and the jet display stands. I'm sure there's people that are interested in displaying like that. I personally won't be, but got to cover it. All right, so let's start off with the legs. And I know in FansToys video and in their manual, they don't do it in this order. I think this is the best order just to make it easy on yourself. So I recommend doing it this way. You have these feet. The black one matches up with this guy, Goose, and the white one matches up with Iceman. So just make sure you use the right foot with the right robot. And then we need these leg parts off of here. So in order to get those leg parts out, you need to remove them. So you can lift up these hip skirts, angle this out to the side. I recommend a spudger. In fact, I recommend keeping a spudger handy for the entire process, because there are some parts like this where it's just hard to get apart. You're going to separate those, open up this panel. On the inside, you'll see there's a mushroom peg, so you can slide this off that mushroom peg. And now we have that part. Just set that aside. And we do the same thing on the other side. You can leave this open for now, because later it'll help us to have that out. So let's get started. We'll start off with Goose. And a lot of the transformations are similar, so the hands and the arms will be similar, but other things are different. Lift the hand up, open up this panel, rotate the hand in, close this up, lift up this panel, accordion this up. There's a little panel that's sticking out, so just make sure it's clearing on the inside here. And then close this back down, and then collapse this in. All right, same on this side, I'll do a little bit faster. All right, now we can take care of the chest. Open this up, and we can come to the side here. You can lift up on these. I probably should have lifted those out before I put the arms down, because once you do that transformation, the arms are stuck like this, but you can still get to them. Open this up, pull forward, rotate, pull out, rotate, push in. Pull forward, rotate, pull out, rotate, push in. All right. Go ahead and close this back up and tab it back in. This will come down and just sit right there. And now we can take care of the legs. For the legs, we're going to rotate these in. I found that my heel spurs and toes were a little bit loose. You can see this one's a little bit loose, because that will irritate you a little bit later, so that's why I mentioned it. Same for this one. Fold that in, fold this in. All right, next, we can open up these panels on the side. We're going to accordion down the leg. Make sure these hip skirts are flat on the side. This is going to come down and peg in right here. So it should end up like this. Then we can close up this panel, tab that back in. And make sure these hip skirts are flat on the side. All right, same on this one. Actually, you can lift up the hip skirts for now. Just get them out of the way. Open this up, untab this, accordion this down. Make sure it gets all the way in. Fold this up, fold that up, fold that up. These we're going to unpeg from the back here. And just fold them back and out of the way for now. We'll take care of these in a minute, but go ahead and unpeg the front backpack from the front. So unpeg this, that'll make this loose. Unpeg this from here, And that'll get that loose. We're going to rotate this around. Just leave that up for now. Then we can take this backpack, and this is going to come slide down on this slider. And it's a little tricky, but you got to get that all the way down like this. So you have this little U shape. And this isn't covered in the instructions. They skip a lot, honestly, in the instructions and in the video. So open this up. This little U shape is going to go around a little tab right here to bring this down. It's hard to show you once I close it. That's why I'm showing you now. Bring this down. Make sure it's around that tab. Then close the legs together, and that will sandwich it in there. Hold it flat. This will just sit down. You're going to accordion these wings back, but this is just going to sit down on the back. In the instructions, they show to flip this around. These do have a peg on the inside that's supposed to go into right here. So you can see there's a slot right here, and there's a tab on this black piece. It doesn't stay all that well, to be honest, but that is where it goes. So get this folded up and see if you can get that tab in there. Actually, I got it. Okay. And then same for this one. Just fold it up. Actually, now I'm thinking maybe I have this wrong. Maybe this is supposed to be up here. All right. And then same for this one, get this tab in there. So you should have something like this. And this foot is definitely an irritation for me. All right. So now we'll take care of the actual foot. So this is going to come and sit here. You can get these side pieces in, and they're very tight. So I recommend get one on first, and then come to the other side, and you basically have to pull up and stretch it a little bit. I got that one pretty easy. That wasn't too bad. And then put the front ones in like that. And now we can just solidify all of this. This is going to come down a little bit later, so just leave this open for now. All right, now we can combine the thigh piece. So we should have this open already from removing it from the torso. Go ahead and come to the bottom here, open this up, open this up. We'll remove this piece right here. Open up the knee, so you have this all the way back. So it should look like something like this. You have it up a little bit. Okay. And what we're going to do is slide this over. And there's two grooves right here on his shoulders. They're going to fit in two slots right here. So slide that over. And this other one is the same. So I'm not going to show it again. I'm just pinching it now. And sometimes the head gets rotated. It's a little bit irritating. Make sure you put it on straight and keep that head straight. There we go. Got it now. You can see it. All right, bring the knee all the way back up. So we have something like this. Bring this down. It should tab in. And then bring this down and tab that in. All right. Come to the back. This piece here should push all the way down. These two should bring over, and that's actually part of the jet. And then these come down and peg into that. I do think this is pretty ingenious, to be honest. And then this will come down. You want to open up these two pieces here. Allow you to bring this down and get it wedged right in between these two panels here. And that helps hold all of this in a little bit better. It's not perfect, but it does help. And make sure these two stayed pegged in on the sides. And there you go. There's one leg done. Leave these panels open on the top. All right, so let's set him aside. And let's work on Iceman. And you're just lucky I know these names because I definitely forgot the names of these guys. But very similar transformation. So let's go a little bit faster this time. Hide the hands away. Open this up. Fold that in. Collapse this down. Oop. collapse this down. Same on this side. Open this up, open that up, and same kind of motion, right? Slide forward, rotate, slide out, rotate, and push in. Same this one, slide out, rotate, slide in, and get that in there. All right, bring this back down, tab it back in on the sides, leave the head, whoops, knock the face off. Leave the head down and leave the face on there. I guess you could take it off if it's causing problems, but. And now we'll take care of the legs. So come to the outside here, we're gonna unpeg this from here, fold the heel in, fold the first toe in, and fold the second toe in that order. Heel, toe, toe. And we can unpeg this and set this down to the side, just out of the way. Open up this panel. We're going to take this outside panel here, fold that down like this. That's going to end up sitting here, but get this collapsed in underneath the jet, and we have to take this apart to be able to see it, but we can open all this up. Same on this one, open all this up. And you do have a little bit of choice here on how you want it to be displayed. You don't have to have the wings completely open. That's just how it is in the instructions, so that's how I'm going to do it. But we're going to separate the backpack here. So unpeg the nose cone from this. And we can just fold this out of the way for now. But what I want to show you is these two panels right here. Have those open. We're going to collapse this down. And make sure the hip skirt made its way in the inside, like this. Close that up. Bring this down and tab that in, and then bring down this panel here. All right, I'll do it a little faster this time. All right, now we can take care of some of this other stuff. Bring this down, and as if you're making the jet, just bring these two panels down on the side and get them tabbed in. Here we go. Same on this one. And you need those down because you want the back flat. All right. This is going to rotate around and sit like this. This is kind of the part that I found to be, I don't know, irritating, mainly because of this. These wings love to pop off the C-clip. So I find myself constantly putting them back on the C-clip. We're going to rotate this around, bring this up, and then have it straight like that. All right, same on this one, bring this around. And I'm sure there's a better way than what I'm doing right now. But get these wings vertical. And leave this loose. This is going to come up. And you don't want it inside, underneath, like you do for jet mode. You want it on the outside. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to collapse it. Basically, bring this up. Let's see. Here we go. So it sits kind of flat. And then this is going to end up like this. This ends up resting on the thing. So bring this up and tab that in to the back. Tab that in. Okay. These are supposed to flip around, let's see, like this. No, like this. And then tab in right here. I can tell you I have applied a lot of force to try to get this to tab in. And no matter how hard I push, I can hold both pieces. It really won't go. I can really push it on there. You can see that tab is getting a little damaged. So you got to push it on there according to the instructions, but it just doesn't go on. At least on my copy, I cannot get it to go. Maybe I'm a weakling. I don't know. But for me, they just kind of sit on top. They don't actually get tabbed in. These wings will just come down and sit in here. There's a little groove there. You can get them in there. They don't really have a tab spot. They just kind of sit like that. Right, so that's how it should be configured. Now we can get the foot on. These two boosters are going to sit in this groove here. So make sure you get that in there. So get the front on first. And like I mentioned on the other one, get these side tabs on first, because those are the more difficult ones. Oh, and we'll open up these little tabs on the front. On the other one, on Goose, they just had holes. This one, the holes are covered. So open that up and then get this down. It is tricky to get this one on, so I don't know. Do your best. There you go. I got it without doing anything else. And then put the front ones on. And you can see all of this keeps coming off. I hate these side wing pieces. But the key is, look back here, make sure these boosters made their way into the groove. That helps hold it together a little bit. Right, and these should be down here. And I'll be honest, this is the worst, my least favorite of all of them, because it just doesn't lock in. Things don't lock in place, especially these side bits here. But now we're ready for the other part. And I knocked his face off again. So grab this, fold that up, fold this out, bend at the knee. It's the same as the other one, by the way. Leave these open, don't close those yet. Grooves on the shoulders are going to fit into slots here, so line those up. Oh, and I have this in the way. Just push that down. So line that up. Make sure the head is straight and slide it on. Make sure it slides all the way forward and it's butting up against this hinge. Once you get that, we can bend the knee straight, close down this tab, close down this tab. Do that in that order, otherwise you'll have a little trouble. Fold these down, fold this back, and you got to get this wing out of the way temporarily, and then you can just put it back. And then same on this one, fold the wing out of the way, bring this down, tab it in, and then you put the wing back after you're done. And this nose cone, there's a little slot right here. There's a tab on the back of the nose cone. You got to push that in there. And this is another thing that just doesn't sit perfectly. It likes to pop out. I've got it now, but there's no telling if it'll stay there. So there's quite a bit of stuff on this particular robot that just doesn't want to stay. But yeah, there you go. There's the two legs complete. And again, leave these open because we got to take care of that in a minute. So go ahead and grab your torso, and we're going to slide these back in. Make sure we're on camera here. So these were on an angle, right? You're going to need them on an angle in order to attach it. But slide these on, open up your hip skirts, give yourself some room. Slide it all the way in. Close this, close this, close this. All right, and then we'll do this other one, and then we can straighten up the legs to be ready for the next part. All right, next we'll take care of the arms. And believe it or not, you can't actually assemble this guy without the Maverick figure or their version of Silverbolt if you want. I am going to show it with it. So if you were doing this with Silverbolt, I recommend you transform this next. But since we already have the arms here, I'm going to do those and I'll show you. You can do it without Silverbolt. I just want to mention that I'm going to do it the official way. So let's set aside this guy and we'll work on this guy. So very similar to the others. Open up the back of the arm, fold the hand in, fold that out, flip this up, fold that in, tab that on, open these pegs. Now we can lift up the head. Actually, you don't need to lift the head. Lift up this panel. Accordion this out because we need this extension. Same thing in the arm, slide out, rotate, slide in. Slide out, rotate, slide out, rotate, and slide in. Alright, so it should end up looking like this. Bring this back down. There's a tab is going into this slot, so make sure that makes its way in. And then tab these in. Now, when I was manipulating, articulating this Superion figure, or Ethereaon, I guess, I had a little issue with these tabs coming out and the whole thing releasing. So I'm probably going to put some Kiki in these slots just to make these a little bit more secure. That might be just me, my copy, so you might be okay. We're going to bring this head down, and that's just going to sit right here. We're going to open up these chest pieces and leave those like that. All right, next we can take care of the waist piece. Just open this up and leave that like that for now. Open up this side panels on the legs. Open up this little front clip and the side panels. And actually we got to rotate this out of the way so you can open it. And these are going to collapse down all the way. And then we can close that little tab back up. Close this back up. Bring this out. Open up this tab, or this wing. That's the look we're going to have. Actually, I think we have this folded for the combined mode. And then we can actually leave this open for now, because later we're going to close that up. And on the inside, we're going to take this panel, fold that down. All right, so that's one leg. Same thing on this side. And a little caveat, this hip skirt here, I recommend you leave it open, because there's a spot for the gun later. I'll show you why, but just leave that open, or you could just open it later, but it could be a little more challenging later. Right, open up this wing, and we're looking pretty close. We're going to take these panels here, untab them from the back. They're going to hinge up using this white jump jointed hinge. And we're going to bring this all the way up, and this is going to tuck underneath here, and then this can fold flat. You can leave it like this too. It juts out a little more, so I like to put it up like this. Doesn't really matter. Same on this side. Unpeg this whole thing, fold it up, slide it in, and then I like to open this up. This is going to come down. There's 2 tabs, 2 pegs. Get that pegged in. And that's extended on that little red hinge right there. All right, and we're looking pretty good here. Oh, these have to stay open. Now for the hand, there's 2 little hooks which are going to go into here. So these 2 little hooks go into these holes, and then you can close the feet around it. There we go. That was a really tight fit, but I got it. Close these back down. And what did I do here? I fixed that. All right, and that's the arm done. So let's just set this aside for a minute, and we'll work on Jester. So a lot of the same stuff, so I'm going to go pretty fast on the arms. All right, lift up the head. I guess you don't, I keep saying lift up the head. I guess you do need to lift up the head, because otherwise it'll be attached there. Accordion this out, and we had to undo some of this backpack in order to do this. So open this up. We're going to unpeg this from here, and that'll free this section. And we can now accordion this up, since this is free. Here we go. Sorry, I got this undone. Okay. And then bring this back up, tab that in, push that back down. So it should sit like that. Come to the front, slide forward, rotate, slide out, rotate, slide in. Same on this. By now you should be used to this movement that they have here. Fold. Oh, and make sure you get this. This has to hit the right spot, so make sure this tabs in to those 2 little tabs, and then push these on. I'm going to open up this tab here, And open up these, bring the head down, and now it's ready. The top part. Now I'll work on the legs. For the legs, click these out of the way, and we'll take care of the legs. Just like the others, we're going to open up this panel. We're going to accordion the leg down, and it looks like they got rid of those little clips that we just saw. And make sure the hip skirt makes its way underneath, not on top. Otherwise you'll get stuck later. Fold in the heel spur, fold in the toe. Same on this side. Open up this here. So we are going to fold these panels out. Rotate these little engine pieces or intakes, whatever they are. I think they're intakes. To the front. Now we can bring this back. This is going to tab in to the bottom, so get this folded and tabbed in, and then we can take these and tab these into the sides. Looks like they tab themselves in, and we're looking pretty good. Alright, so now we gotta attach the hand. I just had to orient myself. You're gonna slide this slider over the top here. It does have a stopper, so it only goes so far, but get that on, slide that down, and it's pretty secure. All right, now let's look at the torso, and like I mentioned, you can assemble it without Maverick in there if you want, but we do have to do a couple things. So we're going to push this down. Oops, and I popped the head off, but you don't want to do that. Let's push that back on. You're going to flip this around, flip this down as you're flipping it around, and then that's going to come to the top. So like that. Then we can open up these. Now if you're doing it without Maverick, then you don't need to do this. You can just leave these all folded up. But for now we're going to do it with Maverick. So open these up, come to the front, pull down on these panels. So pull this forward, pull this forward, this forward, pull these panels on the top up, tiny little tabs, and then pull these out and lay this forward. So this is how it should look from the back, ready to receive Maverick. Alright, now let's take care of Maverick. And he's actually the easiest of all of them, believe it or not. And even though he's the most complicated robot. And the design is a little bit different on this guy compared to the other limbs. So we'll start off with the arms just like the other, but you're going to open this up, push down on this tab. We're going to flip the hand in, and then it's going to come and sit inside here. Rotate the hand so it sits flat, like that, and then bring this back up. And then close that tab. And we want this, let's see. We want this to be rotated, so we have this slot on the inside. Alright. And we'll do the same on this side. Come to the back. We're going to lift up on this. It's tabbed in right here. So untab it. We're going to pull these wings up and out of the way. You can move these arms up too, so they give you a little bit of room to work. Unpeg this from the side, only to have to redo it later, but that's okay. Open these up, and that will free up this entire backpack piece. So bring these wings back, fold this down. All of this just to get the head in here. Alright, so get the head back in there. Close all this back up. Bring this around to the front. Close this back up. And now we can peg everything back together. So we will get these wings out of the way. Peg this in first. And then straighten this up. Bring this panel down. Bring this panel down. We're basically putting it back together the way we had it before we took it apart. Alright, same on this one. Tab that in, straighten this up, bring this down, tab it in. Alright, bring these wings, you could just kind of leave them like this. we're going to take the legs and we're going to rotate here at the upper leg joint, and then we're going to rotate at the knee and leave that wing in there. And while we're up here, slide that panel down, close that up, fold in the heel, fold in that heel. Alright, so same on this one. Bring these arms down, and you can see now that tab that we had there is going to attach to the leg. So line that up and get that tabbed in, and that'll hold the leg there. So same on this side. Nose cone here. So just bring this all the way back. It's supposed to sit in between here. I don't know. I guess it wedges in the middle. Not the best. Alright, so here's how it should be looking based on the work we did earlier. Like I mentioned, if you're not using Maverick, then you didn't even need to take it apart. But we're going to do it the official way. So here's how it looks. I just want to show you before I put it in. That's how it's configured. You got the wings in there. Got this piece down. Arms are attached on the side. Alright. So that's going to slide into here as far forward as it can go. And it's not secured, so don't let it go. Bring this red panel on the top down on top of it. And there's two little pegs that are actually working its way in, so make sure those get in there. And I'll bring it back to the back so you can see what I'm doing. Bring these panels up and around the arms and peg them into the red piece. Same with this one. Goes up and around the arms. Make sure they work their way around the arms. Don't just slam it in the arms. And this came out, so I'll just fix that. Here we go. Right, so get this pegged in. Then you can close these two red panels on the top. That'll kind of lock that in place. Come back to the front and close these panels up. And then close up this panel. Come to the sides. Bring this up. A lot of securing tabs here. It really is nicely in there. Same with this one. Bring this up. Tab that in. And that kind of locks in the legs. Alright, finally we get to the arms. So come to the side here, open up this little panel. And only this side has that panel, but you're going to use these grooves just like you did on the legs. There's grooves on the side of the arm. Clearly they thought about this ahead of time, because otherwise they wouldn't have put those there. But those grooves will slide down in, and the head will end up butting against the body. It is very secure, and then just close that panel on the top, and that secures that arm on there. The other one's a little bit different, so come to this side. This one, make sure you have these two red panels open. And again, this is going to slide down in. Make sure you catch those grooves. It can be a little tricky because you got to push it in and slide it down. Make sure it slides all the way down so it's flat on the top. Then peg these two panels in the front and back into the side to solidify the arm. Alright, and finally there we have Ethereaon in combined mode. And it does look really good. The paint, sculpt, and detail on this guy really comes together here in the combined mode. I really like that they didn't just make it flat panels. You can see there's all sorts of sculpted in, molded in detail on the chest, on the torso, on the legs, on the crotch. Everywhere it's got sculpted detail. That makes it look really good. Let's go to the back and take a look there. And sorry, I'm behind my camera now, though, but pretty clean other than all of this, which is expected for a Superion, right? They're going to have jet parts hanging out, but for the back here, this is pretty clean. The only thing you have is, you know, Maverick's tail fin, or nose cone. And it does sit nicely on there, so it's not like while flopping around or anything. Overall pretty clean. I like this. They have boosters. Made it look like Maverick's boosters. Painted silver, the black inside. It's a nice little detail. There's also painted vents right here underneath. and those look good as well. All right, let's take a look at the articulation before we do anything else. The head is on a rotating swivel. If you bring it up, you'll see there's some molded in detail, kind of like pipes or tubes underneath that neck. That's just a cool detail there that they included. Down to there and rotates around. There's a lot going on with this head. We'll talk about it in a little bit after we go through articulation. For the shoulders, you can lift them up here. And you have to be careful not to hold here. You want to hold on the gunmetal part. Otherwise, you'll do what I just did. So it gets basically all the way up to there. Pretty much horizontal. Down to there. Actually, you can go down one more, but I like to have it up by, one click. You have a rotation here. It can hold the weight. That's important. You do have to rebalance him, but he can't hold the weight of his arm out straight or up, which is good. You have a rotation here at the bicep. You have a single jointed elbow, gets you 90 degrees. That holds nicely. These are beautiful hands, and they have lots of articulation. A rotation here on a ratchet, in and out movement, dice roll. Fingers are individually articulated at 3 pins, and they can splay out like that. Coming to the inside, these are some of the best hands I've ever seen because it's got the thumb muscle, so this right here, built in, and it articulates. So it goes in and out, and it rotates. So you can really get a lot of movement, and the thumb itself, of course, articulates as well, but that's on a rotation and 2 pins. So you can get a ton of movement. These are probably the best hands I've seen on any transformer ever, not just a combiner, but really any transformer that I've handled. That's really quite impressive. Continuing down, we have a waist rotation here on a ratchet. You can get it all the way around. There's nothing hindering it. You have an ab crunch. The ab crunch is ratcheted, so it holds. But of course you've redistributed the weight. Now I'm not holding him right now, but you do want to rebalance him if you're going to have him lean forward like that. Coming down to the legs, you have hip skirts here. Now these get caught up. If you've got the waist swivel swiveled, you can't open these. So what you need to do is unpeg these hip skirts, just like you can on Zeta. You can pull these out, and that gives you way more movement. Now I can lift up and down, even though the waist is rotated. So just keep that in mind. You can open up the side and the front. The legs will kick up to there. And it does hold, but it's a lot of weight, so balancing like that, probably not going to happen. Back to here, you got to, again, open up this hip skirt to get it further, but that's about as far as you can get it. And out to the side, all the way up to there. Again, too much weight to hold it, to balance it, but the ratchet definitely holds the weight. For the knees, you get a single joint, but it's well past 90 degrees, and you get this cover piece, which we installed when we combined it, so that's pretty cool. And finally, for the feet, we get a lot of movement here. You have a toe tilt up and down. You have this hinge. Well, some of this is for the jet display mode, but you have tilts in and out. I think it's on a ratchet. It's hard to tell, but it's very tight. And up and down, forward and backward, anything you'd really need there for those feet. All right, let's talk about the accessories and gimmicks here. And one of the coolest things is the ability to swap them out from tune mode to toy mode. And this head is pretty cool. If you pull up on the center of it, you can see on the other side we've got the toy style head with the blue visor and pearlescent white face. And this head also has a light up feature, which I don't have the batteries for, unfortunately. Normally I get them, but I couldn't find the batteries in the book. But here's the slot, and then here's the switch. So you can slide that switch. Looks like there's 2 different modes, maybe 2 different colors. But pretty cool head. We can slide off the face, slide on a new face, And then we've got this smiling face. We got this grimacing, angry face. Probably one of my favorite. And then we have this really angry, yelling face. So before we put this back on, just set that down. And you come to here, pull up on these ears. And we do have optional ears. So if you don't like the gold chrome, you can have this gold paint. I much prefer the gold chrome. You're going to pull these up and out. And basically switch the sides so that you have this little grill on the front. And again, me personally, I think the gold chrome looks better, so I'm just going to use that. But you have that option if you want it. Kind of like we had for their blaster. And one thing I forgot to mention about this head is if you're using the toy side, flip this all the way around, and that'll give you this little ridge on the top. It looks really cool. And then you can put the head back in, and now we've got toy deco head. I think that looks brilliant. But that's not it. There's a few other changes we have to make. So we're going to pull forward on this, and I didn't even know this until I messed with it. This actually pulls out. So you're just going to pull this out. It's just tabbed in right here. So this panel can be removed. Then we're going to pull forward on these, unpeg those, and the wings are going to attach here, is like this. And you can see the single line right here. And now we are in toy mode. And I think this looks brilliant. I love the way this game turned out. I really think they went above and beyond to make this differentiated from the toon mode. But yeah. The last accessory we get here is the gun, which is done in this beautiful gunmetal color. I showed how to assemble it. There's just a single piece here to assemble it for the unboxing. You'll see there's a tab here. You can open up the hand, and you want to move this out of the way a little bit, the palm, and then you can close the fingers around it. I love that it poses. The fingers can pose around the trigger and stuff, so you get that look. That's pretty cool. And he can hold this just fine. The ratchets will hold the weight. I think this in and out movement is a little bit loose. That could have been tighter. But other than that, he does hold the gun just fine. You can hold it vertically, you can hold it up, whatever you want. Another option with the gun is we can remove it from here. And to bring the arm straight, so it's perfectly straight, you're going to open up this hip skirt right here. You might need a spudger, but I've found that I can use my finger to fold it up. And let me bring it in closer, you can see what I'm doing. So this little hip skirt right here is going to come up. I'm going to take the handle, fold that down, and open up this panel right here. And then on the top there's two little slots. This is going to peg in. I can't believe they thought about that, but this is going to peg in to the top of that. So get this inserted in there, and then use the fingers on both sides to get it tabbed in. It's a tight fit, so there you go. I got it tabbed in. And now he's got that gun secured, and we can open up this wing. But pretty cool option there. You can hold it straight out if you want. Nicely done. And for a quick size comparison, there it is next to the Magic Square Optimus Prime. Nice big combiner, fits in nicely with the Masterpiece scale. Alright, and here it is with the Zeta Toys Bruticon, their version of Bruticus. This is the metallic version, and surprisingly, they're almost the same size. I would say maybe Superion is slightly taller. His head's a little bit bigger, but he's only slightly taller than this guy, so this actually works for me just fine. Alright, and here's the comparison I think most people want to see with the Zeta Toys Supertron, their version of Superion, and he does come in a little bit shorter. His shoulders are about and half an inch shorter, and then his head comes up maybe about an inch shorter, just under an inch. And I think people are saying, you know, this guy's too big. I don't think he is. I mean, he fits in nicely with Bruticus. So it's really this Zeta Toys version that seems a little bit undersized compared to some of the others. But either way, this size works for me. Now, I don't want to talk too much about this guy because we're going to do a full comparison video with him. So stay tuned for that. So final recommendations on the FansToys Ethereaon. I'm going to give this a 4 to 5. I'm going to recommend it. It's a pretty darn good looking figure. It has a lot of cool features, gimmicks, and accessories all work. Overall, I like the idea of having 2 different versions. You can switch it up. My negatives are these panels. I just still can't get them to attach. You can just kind of put them there, but they tend to just be a nuisance. Also, this wing, it's on a C-clip. It's fallen off a few times. I left it off for the final thoughts here. But that is another little nuisance. Not big deals, just little things. Bigger deal, though, is the balance. He is pretty top-heavy with the Maverick and these 2 arm bots. The top is definitely heavier, so you need to balance it. I've got him balanced right now. Obviously, he's in a very dynamic pose here, but you do have to take some time to balance him, and that's just due to the weight. So I think you could take out Maverick and have him just without that extra weight, and that might help. And it doesn't mess with the look because most of it's on the back anyway. Now, you'll have a big gaping hole in the back, but that's really my only complaints. Overall, I really like this. I'm happy that I stuck with it and got to the end here. Now, I know a lot of people have the question, what about Zeta? So stay tuned. We are going to take a look at Zeta, do a comparison. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.